Everybody's Patrick in the pitch check. We got a review for you guys, some Road to Nationals. This is an RTN that's going to be for CC. For Manascrew, the third round, this is going to be KANO versus Katsu, and the KANO will be going first. I've seen it before. I've seen this one before, but it's a hot minute since I've seen it, so it'll be kind of like I'm reviewing it again. Kind of refresh my memory here. So the KANO, sorry, both start with the K. They both start first here. So take note, we have Mask of the Pouncing Lynx. We've got AB2. So this is correct in that you would do the tome first off the top if you see it. So it gives you options because you still have your action point. So we see a lesson plus a swell. Guys, you got to take out swell. Katsu and swell does not mix. I'm a swell hater, but you got to put that only in for those big, tall, high arcane barrier matches like Brute and Dash and things like that. You just can't put it into Katsu. I'm sorry. It just doesn't work. So he still has an action. He has lesson. So maybe what I would do is send the lesson out. Send the lesson pumped. You can find another lesson off the top with one more card, which would be the swell tidings. Find another lesson. Or maybe he can go lesson blazing. I don't think there's enough resources. No, there's not enough resources. He could go, it's still his action point, so it sucks that it's not off the top for lesson. And it kind of sucked that he grabbed a yellow and a red off of paying for 2 cards. He's definitely down resources for sure. So yeah, you definitely play the lesson. In my personal opinion, you would play the lesson. So he doesn't have anything. He doesn't have floating. No floating. It's 3 cards in hand. It does allow them to cycle, the Katsu to cycle if they need to pitch to AB and things like that. Look like a 2 reds, spawns, and a descendant. So he gets to search here for free. Search off of lesson. He has no floating. Now he gets to only search 1 cost. Maybe you can extend to like tome, or you could maybe you can do tome or extend into gaze to find a potion, because of the fact that he pitched 2 reds, which means he wants you to feed into him having awkward hands. He doesn't have the blue, which would feed into Kalidachi and have floating left over in case you want to try to combo him. So maybe that's an option. So he grabs a red. Quickening is also not bad either, but you're setting up your top deck for 1 less damage. So I disagree with this. It is powerful. But I would choose lesson. That's just me. Katsu can't kill you from 30 without an arsenal, even with Mask of Pouncing Lynx. Sorry. Yeah. I would, yeah, I mean, it's damage, it's scary, I get it, but you're arsenaling a wildfire without a combo piece that's going to be on top. So he goes and takes 3. He's got double bonds. Like, this would have been a huge awkward hand. This would have been a hella awkward hand. However, it could have been like descendant into bonds into descendant into bonds using his mask and Katsu. But he just had a whole bunch of reds. Now he's got a whole bunch of blues. So it's definitely even more awkward for Ben here. So yeah, usually this isn't too bad. Just let it hit, see if it hits anything for combo piece. It's a two damage. No, it's not too bad. It's a combo ender, but he did get to 3 blues. So if he's doing this, he wants it to hit. So this is coming in for 4. It would be for 5. I'm usually thinking on the entire thing of it being pumped. Imagine if it was 7. Jesus. Coming in for 6, then Ancestral Harmony comes in for 7. Sheesh. That'd only be off of Searching Strike on the beginning. So this is for 4, right? Nothing too crazy. I think there's no graveyard that he can search off of bonds. He could probably just do another Descendant, but then he had to pay into it. So he can like, I will discard whatever is in my hand and then get bonds and then maybe find something off of whatever he discards as a search target. It'd have to be that way. So I'd let this hit. He can't afford to Katsu anyways. He could, but it's like 2 floating. Then he's up to 45 technically because the 2 points of resources here is neg 5 for each on combo turn. So I don't agree with this double block whatsoever. I don't even know what the point of this double block would be for. So now he's going to Kodachi here. Now he's going to say, this doesn't have go again. Coming in for 2, 3, because Ancestral. But you got it. You're good. So he blocks 3 here. If you're blocking 2, you're going to be blocking the other one, right? We get it. Good to go. So now he's just going to put that in the arsenal. Probably the only blue that you should, but not a here or there, but yeah. So he gave him a 5 card. Let's take a look at what he blocked with anyways. He had a blue in his hand, a blue there. I think this was a tome. Yeah, it's a tome because I can kind of see the the modal type of text on it. So he had a Tome of Aetherwind. What you could have done if you just like didn't care about the second one, that was only for 2. He's not gonna do anything. You should have been blocking, double block the Descendant if you really cared about that. And just go about your day playing the Tome as your way to get your cards back and then use the potion as resources. That'd be my line. That would be my line. So he's taking the non-pressure route and setup route with this potion, which I disagree with. You can't beat Katsu with a setup turn. It just depends on what the turns the Katsu's coming into, because that was definitely one of those turns that was low impact. Holy shit. That was low impact by a mile. So yeah, so what we'll do, because what will happen is the other Dishonor that's in his arsenal, he would pitch to find another card and then try to go for maybe like the bonds, and then he can use the bonds with the so use the Dishonor, but it's not turned on. It would have been an okay turn, but it's still not great. So this one you do block. This is fine. This you do want to block this. If they have Ancestral, then you get got. It's one of those things you just can't play around. I don't know what's in his hand. So he's got a Tome plus a Wildfire plus a Depot. So Mike has kind of an awkward hand. Oh yeah, this is fine. Kodachis aren't great. He really wanted it to be a good target for surging. To make it surging, basically pay into it. Okay, sorry, I paused it there for a second. So I paused on accident. I stopped the video. So now you know he had a blue that was in hand in terms of last turn, and he pocketed it. So Dishonor is okay, like I mentioned before, to pocket. But it's kind of a liability because you don't know how often you'll get the opportunity to get bonds to, or sorry, not bonds, or the bonds line of Dishonor to work and to dishonor the KANO. Because if you are dishonored as a KANO, you die. It's just at that point you would have to try to like main phase kill him, and even then that doesn't matter because you can't even use your ability. It'd have to be like one thing. It's just like a poke type of thing. So if you get dishonored, you die basically. So this is coming in for 2. So if this is coming in for 2 and there's nothing else, I would say you probably block this as well. I honestly, sorry, you do not block this. He should not be blocking this dishonor right here. The other one you block, but this one you don't. Then you could probably send, you could see if something's off the top and then send the wildfire. I would probably blocked with the wildfire earlier. I can't even remember what he had blocked with early. So that was that was a blue. So block with the wildfire when you've already got one in arsenal. Just, make it less awkward at that point. You're blocking with resources because your turn isn't going to be just send wildfire. That's so low impact. You want to strip cards out of the opponent's hands. And that is not the way to do it. I'll tell you that, that's for sure. So here which kind of like puts into my my wheelhouse. If you were going to be blocking with a card that's not awkward, block with the wildfire, not the blue. Then you won't have this awkwardness. And then you would only be blocking with wildfire. You would not be blocking with this tome, and you can see what's off the top. See if it's a red. Cool. We can kind of like go about our day. Maybe play the not the potion. Play the tome, and then use the potion for resources, things like that. So already, again, he's messing up even more now. He's still playing the setup plan of potion, block, potion, block. So definitely not the route you should go whenever you play into the Katsu. I don't know what Mike's other 2 rounds were. I don't know how new he is. I don't know how much knowledge he has into the Katsu. So here, this is kind of a turn off. So I don't, so it's a red. So it's a red spindle plus a sonic boom, and then it was another potion in his hand plus a tome. As a tome. So now he's playing another. So that one he kind of got an awkward, hand, so he had to block. But again, you're playing potions, you're playing setup. Use the Tome of Aether Wind because that's something that you can do to strip cards out of your opponent's hands. You've already over set up way too much. I get it, you're trying to get a high roll, but think of your turn as part of the combo. Someone mentioned this to me. You may know him, Tog from We Make Best. I was kind of in the wheelhouse whenever I was doing my Katsu of doing double Tome of Finals from Arsenal. It gives me room whenever I play the first one, don't pocket the second one because it's halfway of my combo to create the space of stripping cards out of your opponent's hand. And then you can kind of either that or they take massive damage on your turn, and that gets it so much lower for them in terms of the life damage threshold. So again, back-to-back main phases from this KANO, incorrect. You just can't set up. If you set up this heavy, you better crush it on combo turn. You better have like 10 tomes being activated. I digress. I'm just exaggerating, but he's got another wildfire, which is good. Double wildfire, right? There's pros and cons to letting this hit. He can pay into it. He can Katsu, so that's 2 cards down. Even though it might be resources left floating, still 2 cards down. However, I think the pros outweigh the cons of blocking it. It's way better for you to block it. And the reason I say you can block this and let your opponent still do his thing, is because you just put 2 potions onto the field, arena, what have you. So you can potentially block with the blue. I don't know how many blues he has in his hand, but I know he has a wildfire. I want to say maybe he's got 3 blues in his hand, which is insane. Like double wildfire with this many potions on the field. He can even have it to where, okay, so he lets it hit. He would have been punished, so that added was good for the pro of letting it hit in his mind. So now he has 2 triggers on the stack he can kind of order. Katsu comes first, and then he can pay type of thing. So let's see what he does. So he tosses out a red, and he gets Descendant, which means he has a blue. Because now he has to pay into it, basically. That's why I'm saying he has to have a blue. He has to have a blue, or else he's just fucked on resources. So now this is Descendant coming in, right? The Descendant comes in. If you didn't block the beginning one, you probably don't need to block this one now. I don't think he had natural. So now he has a Bonds. Now we're fucked here because we have a possible Dishonor coming through. There's even the fact that he's not popping Mask because he has everything that he needs. And he's reading Bonds, which means he's probably new. Maybe not necessarily new to the game, but new to the Katsu, which should be mean that you're kind of new to the game because Katsu came out at the very beginning. So maybe you're just only paying attention to the newer heroes that just came out that are slightly more fresh with the sets. So this is going to be a kill you now Katsu turn or block Dishonor now. I'd take a whole bunch of damage to set up. I had blocked a whole bunch to set up. Now we toss our entire, toss a good hand type of thing. He can still use Mask to get like a go again and then continue it. But I think the Dishonor line doesn't, the Dishonor card itself doesn't matter if there's like 100 wins at right after Bonds. You just have to control all 3 within the chain. So there is a consideration. You got 4, 4, and 3. Maybe even spinning Will Kick. 4, 4, 3, maybe even Kadachi. So maybe you're down to about 7-ish. So now he is playing this. Doesn't have go again, right? Doesn't have go again. You kind of know he is a guy. He is the type of person to toss blues in Arsenal. But again, it was a Dishonor. It was a little bit different. So you block now or kill with combo. Those are your 2 options. I cannot remember if Tide Flippers means base of 2 or actual total power of 2, because I don't know if you can Tide Flippers here. So he wants to pitch the red to it and put it on top. Okay, so that's incorrect. I'll see why here in a second. So he wants the KANO. And he didn't switch it for a blue. Basically, now he's down 2 resources. I'll tell you why in a little bit. Now he has 2 resources from the thing here. I don't know what he has in his hand. 2 more blues, right? 2 more blues? Yeah, 2 more blues. Because he has 3 blues total. Okay, so he's got gaze. He's got gaze. He can fix his top deck for rags in terms of not guaranteeing he has a rags or a blue, which is awkward for him. So imagine if you had an extra blue in your hand. Imagine if you had so he wants to send this without Metacarpus nodes. So what you do is you announce Metacarpus nodes on the stack and then you play gaze. So that's what you need to do to say, I need to know what's on top or what's coming before I can pay into Metacarpus nodes. So now it's already slightly lower impact because of it's down 5 damage on this right here. So now he's playing it. He should have played it for the Metacarpus trigger on the stack. I don't know if he knows that. We see 2 blues. I think it's a Singe and a Emeritus Scolding. Emeritus Scolding and Singe. Do your math. You've got another potion, which is 4 resources total in your pool. Then you got 2 blues in your hand. So that's 6 resources. You've got 11 being that you have Threadbare Tunic. That's 11 resources with the first Wildfire already. You didn't pump the... If you want to go Wildfire, you can pump the second one, because then that one comes in for 5 resources of your 11, leaving 6 resources left, which is then a banish plus a nodes on the Emeritus Scolding. So you would have to factor if that's enough damage. Probably not, with how much life that Katsu had. It's not enough. You would need to force spell with blazing at the end, I think. Even just normal force spell without blazing doesn't kill. Only because the very first Wildfire didn't pump everything up high enough. So he wants to... Yep, imagine if you, right now, if in your hand, you had 3 blues instead of 2. He's down 1 blue. So what would happen is I would shoot it from Arsenal first and then do the Wildfire second and then evaluate everything, because he's down 2 resources. Basically not another blue, but he's down 2 resources. So he would have the total that we had counted before being 11, he'd have 13. I would have probably bought them both at this point if I was him. I would bought them both. You can use gaze as your Ragamuffins target, because you need something that needs to be crazy here. So yeah, he's down 2 resources because he misplayed on the depot type of dealio there. So now he's got a lesson. He's got a lesson. So he's got 1 more card in his hand, I believe. I think, right? Is he? No, he banished with the Emeritus and then he banished again. So he's got a resource off of lesson. So he's got 6/5. Does he have another card in his hand? I can't be sure, man. So he's sending this for 3 plus 3, so 6. So he had maybe 4. Search. Now he has a tome. He has to search for tome. Okay, so he doesn't have. He has to go with like a higher roll type of thing, right? So you do that. Sorry, I'm kind of thinking here. Just thinking aloud. So now you should be using rags with a blue. Hopefully you get a blue. So banish with KANO. You have a blazing in your hand. Swap it out. If you get a blue, go with wildfire blazing. So then wildfire would come in for an additional 7. Sorry, yeah, so 7 because 3 plus 4 is 7. Then that would drop him down to 21. Blazing would come in for 10 damage from the 2 wildfires. And then you would do another 10 plus 4. If you drop into 21, that's 11, and then that's lethal. So he would have to rags here and get a blue. Maybe even a yellow, get away with a yellow because he's got threadbare tunic at the bottom. So he goes with the least damaging line, because this is the 2 is what I'm trying to tell you, is this is the 2 cost you need to be spending into wildfire here. So the damaging line needs to be wildfire less than wildfire blazing. So now blazing comes in for a little bit because he uses storm striders here. So he drops them down to 4. So okay, so he drops them down to 4. Where he's missing 1 resource off of, let's count the resources that he's missing. Okay, let's count them all. He's missing the resource off of tunic. He's missing 3 potential resources turned into a red turned into a blue, which is 2 plus off of the Ragamuffin's hat. But he should have done that earlier with wildfire. So if he didn't do it with wildfire then and use Depot, he can still use Depot and not still use Ragamuffin's hat. And then he could have killed. So this combo would have been easy to figure it out. Again, he could be new. We can just assume that he's new with how he's playing. With 3 blues and 2 wildfires, you need to see what your combo ender is first. It's almost like wildfire, flare, combo ender. That's what you kind of need to do. So the blind flip needs to come first, which would have seen a Gaze the Ages, which is perfect, right? Perfect for information. So he does this, right? Again, we know he's down 2 resources because of this type of thing. So I would have seen he has 2 floating, and then he wants to see this, right? So that's also something too. Popping a resource, the 2 resources for probably wildfire, which makes no sense. First, you kind of need to see what's going on later on, because if you're popping resources with your energy potions, you won't be able to clear the cards from your hand, so you can play out your, you can activate your tunic. So that's also something you need to remember, is clear out the cards out of your hand if they're all blues, so you can get to your tunic. Then you can play out your epots. Your potions will always be there. They don't have restrictions like threadbare. Okay. So this would come off the top first if I saw it my way. I would then go with wildfire from Arsenal, fully pumped, having 5 resources used up. From that 5 resources used up, I would have probably had the Gaze, bottom everything on the Depot, because I probably could guarantee that there's something there, but I would also see the Gaze 2 blues. I don't need that. I can bottom both of those. And then I can probably use a Potion of Deja Vu to even go further with the gaze into the depot, into making sure that my rags is good. I know that's confusing, but I would have made sure that he's at 35. I need to go 4 wide. And with 2 potions, that seems fairly reasonable, right? 0 cost, maybe blazing at the end. But his method still could have had lethal. You got to use rags. You had equipment up at the very end right here. You had equipment up that you could have done. Let's see what's on top, actually. Because then he scoops. Then he's dishonored. He's dishonored, right? You can't do anything else. Your boots are destroyed. Don't worry about your pitch stack. I know that's something you can probably get into to getting the hang of in terms of. All right, see, it's on the very bottom. Let's see. We can't see. He's already shuffling it. Well, at that point, KANO's pretty much dead. You're gonna have to try to survive as much as possible. Trying to block out as much as possible here. Let's see what's in his hands. Block this out. Don't let him get another Katsu trigger. Doesn't matter. I'd probably double block. So he's got 4 blues. He's got a potion. You can't use it. So yeah, that would be one of the things you can probably do is like block a whole bunch of stuff. Breaking cells is still up. Mask is still up. Chest is still up for the Katsu. A lot of things to consider. So there was a 75% chance with that hand right there that there was going to be a blue off of Ragamuffin's hat. Let me know. If I'm wrong, let me know, but my math is pretty good. I could have sent the last wildfire plus that blazing, so. So he blocks, gets punished. Now he banishes draw 2. Finds another card and then pops this. So yeah, he's just straight dead. After Bond's descendant line type of thing, yeah, he's just dead at that point. He's got a no block. And it's one of those things, is like lethal. I know I said a lot, but let me know in the comments if I need to break it down slower for you guys. Katsu is a tricky thing. People who are new to KANO, when they go up against Katsu, you're going to struggle. And more than likely, I'm thinking Mike is new. So let me know if you need some tips and tricks versus Katsu. That's it for this one. Hope you guys enjoyed it.